Okay, welcome back. Let's get right into the stock market technical analysis. Get a video out. We're going to go through the broad market analysis, look at some individual things. We'll look at wheat, and we'll probably wrap up. So today looked like, obviously a rally today in the markets. Here's what I got on the Nasdaq futures. This is an hourly chart right here. You can see basically the downtrend that started back. I mean, really, it started at the highs, but we didn't know it was a downtrend until it started to break that former uptrend right there. And I've got a trend line marking out that downtrend. You can see here resistance there. And then today, pretty much rallied it all day, and we were above this, but you can see we closed basically right there on that trend line. So that's either a breakout and we're back testing, holding support from underneath, completely possible, or it was just kind of a brief kind of chop through that trend line, and then ultimately that's going to fail and head lower for another leg lower in this ongoing downtrend. That's the way I'm leaning right now. I think that it probably just kind of, you can see that basically that's not an impulsive breakout. It took pretty much all the energy today just to get up there. So I'm thinking that we basically fail here and roll over. If I look at the 15-minute chart, kind of clean this up a little bit so you can actually see it. But on the 15-minute chart, you can see we started to put in some negative divergence right there on the PPO and the RSI. And basically this little high right here was a divergent high that now got sold into. So I'm thinking we fail here, but again, it's really micro call. It's really, difficult to call the very exact next day price action. But that's what it looks like to me. So I'm thinking we will sell off tonight into the evening, probably open up back within this trend line, and then we're going to make another leg lower. My target still remains, if I go down to the daily on the Nasdaq futures, this is your major trend line on the daily chart. So this is your uptrend that's really been going on all year round, or this uptrend has been going on all year, and my target right now still remains a move down to that trend line. Okay, so that is what I'm thinking. I think we got a little more downside to go even after today's rally. I do believe we still have right around another 4 to potentially 4.5% or so to the downside. So that's the Nasdaq futures. Let's look at the triple Qs. Again, on the daily chart, there's the uptrend line right there. So that's my target. Remains that uptrend line marked in blue. And then if I get down to the daily or the hourly chart, the hourly did pop this. You can see it had a little bit of a trend line here marked out, and we did pop above that there. But again, the futures didn't really. So kind of closed right there on that trend line. So we'll see. There could be a little more upside, obviously. We've got kind of former reaction highs on the hourly chart, and there could be a little more upside. Maybe that's all there was on this correction. I don't think so. But again, nothing's really stopping this from running up and making a new high. If it does that, it will just be another divergent high. We'll just continue to, we're just continuing to build on the divergence. So that's what I'm thinking on the triple Qs. I think I'll follow the futures. We'll see how those open up. If something changes, then, obviously we'll have to change the trade. But for now, I'm going to remain short. I'm not heavy short, again, because we're still in an uptrend on the daily chart. All right, if I go to the daily, we're still in that uptrend. So I don't want to be heavy short until this uptrend on the daily breaks and I get a longer term sell signal on the daily chart. I don't have that yet. So that is the only thing we're looking at. And, again, down here at this trend line, if you're a bull, that's where you'd want to be buying, all right, for the next leg higher. Moving on, again, the Fang stocks are really what you got to watch, and mostly Apple. You can see here Apple on the daily. You've got a pretty mature bearish rising wedge. All right, we're pretty much at the apex of the wedge, but again, they have a little more room. We could continue to trade in this wedge for a few more days, and that's possible. So you'll want to watch that. I don't know if it's going to break down before the vacation week next week. You have 4th of July coming up. You're going to have a lot of institutional traders taking the week off. I believe Monday is a half day for the market. So again, probably we're going to start going into holiday trading here pretty soon. And on this one, that big bearish rising wedge is really ultimately what you need to see a breakdown from for a sell signal. All right, you get the breakdown on Apple and the sell signal on Apple, it's likely going to usher in it's pretty much going to usher in more selling in the triple Qs and a lot of the tech stocks. They all kind of trade together. So that's that one. Meta, that one, you know, if you look at the daily, this still does have, it's still within this bearish rising wedge. Yesterday, if I go down to the hourly, we started to break. We broke right here. And today they gapped it up and closed it back within the wedge. So kind of a false breakdown. I think we're pretty much ready to actually break down. But again, on the daily chart, you need to see a break on the daily chart in order for this to really get going to the downside. So again, I think it's coming very soon. We're at the, you know, kind of the apex of the wedge, this bearish rising wedge. So again, I would be looking for that, but we don't have it fully yet. Okay, Tesla. I did cover my Tesla short today because a couple things. One, on Tesla, this is the daily chart. I don't have negative divergence on the daily. Okay, so that tells me that, you know, I just don't completely have it. I mean, you could make a case that it made an equal high if I roll in right here. You know, you did make an equal high. So that is possible to be negative divergence. The other thing that I don't specifically like, there's this overhead trend line right here. You can see this is the downtrend line in Tesla, and we haven't hit it. We haven't tested it again. So I could easily see a back test of that, a rally up to that trend line, and then a rejection. And as of right now, we have not tested it. So closed out that trade. It was about 3.5–4% profit. And then we're, you know, I can always get back in, but for now, we'll just take the 4% and look for a different opportunity. There's also this gap to fill down here. So I do think you're probably going to get, at minimum, come down and fill the gap. But yeah, for now, we'll just sit on the sidelines on this one. All right, here's wheat futures. So wheat futures is a buy the dip stock right now. I'm trading WEAT, and this is a bullish falling wedge here. We have bullish divergence, and we have a breakout, all right? So this is buy the dip, all right? Today, we did get a pullback. It's about 5% down after hitting the 200-day. I did tell the private member group that this is likely going to be some resistance here, and sure enough, it has proven so. Nice pullback today. I could see some more downside. You know, down here, you've got really good support right down here with all these reactions. See this support, and then it was resistance. So again, a drop down to 662.20 or so is really strong support. So I could see continued pullback. Maybe we flag out for a little while, and that'd be another 5% down to hit that support level. So that's really the possibility of the downside. You could come in and backtest the wedge like that. I don't think we'll do that, but you could. You have really good support right down there though. So maybe a little more downside, maybe not. Again, it's by the dip because it did break out of a big bullish falling wedge pattern. So again, I see it probably doing that and just continuing higher. And that's it. The home builders, XHB. So on this one, obviously bearish rising wedge here, breaking to the upside today. You can see, let me move that. You can see basically pretty impulsive move right there on a breakout to the upside. I suspect this breakout's going to fail. This is a breakout of a bearish rising wedge with negative divergence. But again, that's why I talked about we need to see a sell signal before shorting this thing. Ideally, I was looking for a break of this lower support line here to be my sell signal. And that is what I'll continue to do, all right? I'll continue to look for a break at that lower support level. So this one has a little more work to do, obviously breaking out today to the upside. So no position on this one right now. And here's Nvidia. Again, Nvidia there's no real sell signal. There is negative divergence on the daily. All right, you have it on both momentum indicators. You're kind of trading up here, just kind of, so far it's just kind of holding up here. Looks like it's going to make a new high. There's no reason to short this thing right now. So ultimately, we're just kind of watching. There is the potential for the island cluster top where you gap up, trade, make a cluster, trade for several days, and then gap down, and that would be an island cluster top. But until we see that, there's no trade here. You are going to need these things to start to break. You know, you will need to see Nvidia and Apple and, you know, the big tech stocks start to break in order for the momentum, and especially in the tech sector, to start to reverse. So we don't have breakdowns or sell signals on Apple yet. That's what I'm continuing to look for. Here's GDX, the gold miners. Again, trading at support right now. You can see the uptrend line. You've got support, and then you have another reaction, a kind of a cluster of reactions right here. We're just below that trend line right now, but in general, it's close enough to be holding. We did hit the 200-day today, and it started, you know, the buyers were down there buying it at the 200. So I don't know. I kind of like it right here, but ideally what I'd be looking for is some sort of recovery of this trend line. You get that, you're probably going to start to move higher for another leg higher in the gold mining stock. So keep an eye on that. For now, I don't have enough to want to take a position. If I drop down to the hourly, you can see here that we basically, let me clean this up. We have some bullish divergence showing up on the hourly chart right there. So we just made a divergent low today. So again, I think we'll probably, you know, move above this trend line and recover it, and then ultimately signal that, all right, that was a false breakdown and we are going to actually have another leg higher in the miners. But as of right now, we need to see that recovery of that trend line. So I'll keep an eye out for that one. And for the most part, that's all I got. So I'm going to get the video out, keep it relatively short, and I will get back to you guys tomorrow. Take care.